This is episode 12. You gotta be who you are in this world. I'm Marc Denny. I love movies. I'm all about the movie going experience. So much so I created a show called The Weekly Reference just so I had a place to geek out for a little bit. If you found this on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc., I really appreciate you stopping by to check this out. On this week's episode, we got to talk about the new Highest to Lowest trailer. We also got to talk about Matt Smith joining the Starfighter film. And then lastly, the main topic, just kind of want to talk about a little bit about me, a little bit about my dreams and passions, what I've done and what I kind of want to set out to do. But yeah, that's what I want to share. So let's get into it. So Marc's Top 5 for this week, it's covering from August 4th through August 8th. This week, they dropped the new trailer for Highest to Lowest. This is that new Denzel Washington movie. A$AP Rocky's in there. Jeffrey Wright. It's directed by Spike Lee. And it looks pretty awesome. It looks like this crime thriller. There's a ransom hostage situation. It looks like Denzel plays this record executive. Maybe he didn't fulfill a contract or something obviously tipped off this kidnapper to take his son. And it seems like a really entertaining film. It seems like a lot of fun. The only thing that I'm kind of questioning is that it feels like it's not getting much of a bump, not much of a push for it. I don't know what the expectation is. I know it comes out this upcoming week, I think August 15th, and then it's supposed to hit Apple in a few weeks after that in September, which I find really odd because you take something like F1. So this is an Apple production, Highest to Lowest, but F1 was also an Apple production, but I also think it was in collaboration with Warner Brothers. However, they put out F1 and it was like one of the bigger hits of the summer. It's also being boasted around that it's the highest grossing film of Brad Pitt's filmography in terms of him leading movies. Previously was World War Z, so it's kind of awesome to have F1 overtake that. It's a great film. You should check it out if you haven't seen it. But like, that was an Apple production. So I'm surprised they didn't hey, you know what? Let's promote our next movie and see if we can get as many eyes on here as possible. It seems like it's very much, I don't know, maybe it's just the deal of it all. Like, hey, it's coming out wide in August, but you can catch it at home in September. It just, I don't know, it feels a little funky. I don't know. And I haven't heard much buzz about it. I know that I think it's fresh in Rotten Tomatoes because I think it premiered at some festival and people who got to see it enjoyed it. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure I saw that it was fresh. So I'm just kind of interested in why they haven't been trying to promote this as heavily as they probably should have. I mean, it's Denzel Washington. I mean, he was just in Gladiator 2, which he was phenomenal. He either almost got an Academy Award or a nomination, or he just was heavily promoted during that time frame to get a nomination. I can't remember if he actually secured a nomination or not. I'm kind of thinking he did, but yeah, I don't know. It's so weird, and I'm a big Denzel fan, so I'm curious about this movie. I want to check it out. Next, Matt Smith joins Ryan Gosling's new Star Wars film, the Starfighter movie. It's directed by Sean Levy, who just had an awesome, successful last year run with Deadpool and Wolverine. He's an awesome director. Did Real Steel. This Is Where I Leave You. I think he does a really great job in terms of his filmography. And so I'm excited to see what this one turns out because honestly, we haven't seen anything of note Star Wars related in a long time, at least theatrically. It's been kind of slim pickings and it's been kind of sad. I know they have a Mandalorian movie coming out, but to have something actually feel, what's the word I'm looking for? For some reason I want to say authentic, but that's not what the word I'm trying to think of. To actually have something that seems like it's disconnected from the larger universe, like it's in the universe, but it's disconnected from the Skywalker stuff, and that's what I'm trying to say. Like it seems like an original film taking place in the Star Wars universe, and so it's been a while since we had anything like that, and it feels like it's not going to be a bunch of callbacks and stuff like that. It's going to be its own little thing that maybe will set up some type of potential franchise within the Star Wars universe because they really need one beyond the Skywalker episode ones. But yeah, this one really doesn't come out until May 2027. Matt Smith, I hear, is a great actor. I honestly haven't seen any projects that he's in other than Morbius, where he's like the villain. But I haven't seen Doctor Who, and I've maybe seen an episode of House of Dragon. I hear that he's a great actor. And so just hearing that is enough to me. Like, all right, well, they got Ryan Gosling, they got Sean Levy. Like, so there's obviously some quality within this film already. Like, there's already a standard. So to add Matt Smith and add Mia Goth, like, that's just another thing of just adding to it, right? It's not it's not taking anything away from it. It's not lowering the quality at all. They're obviously casting it around Ryan Gosling and to keeping it to that type of quality control. So I just think it's a promising casting, and I know I think I've seen clips of him being a villain before. I know he's in this upcoming film, Caught Stealing, which I'm really interested in seeing. But yeah, like, yeah, it's you're adding someone talented. Awesome. Let's see. Let's hopefully make a new franchise within the Star Wars universe. That'd be nice. Another trailer drop for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, which I wasn't anything that I expected, because the title alone makes it seem like, okay, maybe this woman doesn't have any legs. This one stars Rose Byrne. Obviously, it's she has legs. She's walking and running in the trailer. So I don't know if obviously it's like some type of metaphor, some type of allegory. But it looks like she's trying to take care of her sick child, or her roof caves in. Like, her world is kind of falling apart. She goes to therapy and all this stuff. And it's like this weird, like, it's got this psychological thing in there that it reminded me of Night Bitch with Amy Adams, which I didn't really make it through. It wasn't my cup of tea. I was just like, it was an interesting idea, and then it just lost me. But this one seems like a darker version of that. More, I don't know, more dramatic or something. Rose Byrne looks like she's an amazing actress. So it just looks like she's just delivering her all in this trailer. And then to see Conan O'Brien as this serious therapist, I'm sure he's gonna have comedic moments, but it was kind of weird to see him in a different light. And I remember hearing him talk about this movie not too long ago. I can't remember which podcast it was. He was talking about this movie in particular, and I was excited then to hear about it and to see to see the trailer. I was like, okay. And this one comes out October 10th of this year, so I hope it's a good movie, man. I hope it is. Next, James Gunn, I guess during an earnings call or one of those investor things who knows when these things are happening, by the way. David Zaslav, I guess, dropped a couple news nuggets. So the first thing is that he talked about James Gunn's next film. James Gunn has been talking about what he's writing next in the DC universe ever since Superman, obviously, because he did his big, huge press run for that movie. And in that course of that, he revealed that he's writing something that involves Superman. And of course, everyone's speculation is like, oh, we're going to get Batman and Superman. That's going to be the next thing. And there's people that are complaining, how come we're not just getting a Superman 2? You're going to make the same mistake that they did with Henry Cavill. You had Man of Steel, and then you went straight into Batman v Superman. But and then there's the other side of the coin of, like, people just really wanting to see who he's going to team up with next. But it was a mixed bag of whether or not Superman should be in a movie with someone else or just have his own standalone movie, obviously. And apparently it's a super family movie. That's what we're getting told. He's writing it. The next movie is like a super family movie. So that means what? Superman, Supergirl, Crypto, which makes sense because of what we're seeing right now. We had the Superman come out, and it's an amazing film. I haven't stopped thinking about it since I seen it. I want to see it again. Supergirl comes out next summer in 2026. So it only makes sense to be like, have these two worlds collide into a film, like to wrap that up. Not wrap it up per se. I don't mean for it to end, but to have it come to head. Like, okay, these two, you've seen them together, now they get to team up into something. So something else obviously happens. So it's exciting. It's awesome. James Gunn is an amazing writer. He's hella inspiring when it comes to writing, because I don't know how he does it. Just him alone doing. I mean, he talked about in an interview where he was on his honeymoon, and there he is writing for Creature Commandos, Superman, and Peacemaker season 2. Like, he's just. I mean, obviously, this is the beginning stages of DC. This is a new universe. He had to put a lot of time and effort to kind of set the foundation. But like, just listen to him talk about writing. It's so fascinating, and it's so like, you know what? You're right. You are so right. You could have a terrible day writing, but maybe when you get to the end of the day, you go, wow, you know what? This isn't as bad as I thought it was. Or, whatever, just write. he doesn't believe in writer's block and all that stuff. And so, man, I wish I had that mentality. But yeah. And then the other thing that was dropped during this call, I guess, was that the Batman Part 2 is going to start filming in spring of 2026, because they're trying to make the release date of 2027. I think October 2027, if I'm not mistaken. This is exciting because now, okay, obviously the script has been read. They're in some form of like, yeah, this works. Whether or not they're doing another draft is unknown. Any punch ups or anything like that, or they were just like, yo, I like what I see. Let's go ahead. Everything's the way the studio system works and how everything's getting pumped out at certain levels. And they already did a part one, so I'm sure there's some things that they got to revisit and take into account and already have in place to make the sequel. And I don't know, but it's still exciting news nevertheless. We're getting a Robert Pattinson sequel. I think it'll be nice. I think I would have been disappointed had they decided, you know what, we're restarting it. I know you did the Batman. It was really great, but we want to introduce our Batman. But James is really good about like, hey, you're going to know the difference. You got the Robert Pattinson series, and then you're going to have whoever we decide to cast, and the type of tone that we're going to have with our Batman. And so it's I feel like tonally it's going to be different. Obviously, because I feel like the Batman was very much noir, Seven, David Fincher-esque type of movie, and I'm only presuming that the second one, and maybe the third movie, is going to be in that same vein. And so I think it's okay to have two Batmans kind of running around at the same time. I think we're gonna know. At the end of the day, you're gonna know the difference between the two Batmen that could be potentially running around at the same time. But I'm also excited because the Batman teed it up to where you had to have a sequel. So whether or not this is the final in this franchise or it builds up to a third one, I'd be happy to see a trilogy of Robert Pattinson films. And then I feel like 3 is their number, though. I feel like once they hit the third movie, that's like, okay, we're done here. We're not going to do any more in this universe. But I feel like, yeah, it would be a mistake to not let them go through with part 2. I just hope they nailed the script. I hope it's exactly what they were looking for. Robert Pattinson is super busy. I mean, The Odyssey, Dune Part 3, and then he's going to go into this new Batman film. So it's going to be interesting, and I'm sure everyone's schedules are going to get even more insane when they decide to do, well, if they decide to do Batman Part 3. I guess it depends on the audience whether or not they show up for Batman Part 2. But the online discourse is like people are demanding part 2 to come out. So it feels like you feel it in the air that people are really excited for this movie. But yeah, to hear that they're starting filming very soon, I mean, that's pretty awesome. Clearly it gives them from now to the end of the year to like really, get some sets built, the Bat Cave, go back to the house that they were in. I don't know if they actually shot it in an actual house where they built that or not. I haven't watched the behind the scenes of the Batman, believe it or not. I've been meaning to do that. But yeah, it'd be really interesting to see what they do. So what I want to talk about for the main topic this week is like dreams. I'm not going to go super in depth or anything like that or anything deep or anything, but like, at the end of the day, the thing that I'm aiming for is that I do want to be a filmmaker in some type of capacity. Whether or not I'm making money from it, that's irrelevant. I really, at this point in time, I don't care. I just want to do it. And with that being said, it feels like I'm constantly in my own way. And I don't know if anybody else feels that way. I feel like I am. I feel like a lot of people may feel that same way of like, you know what? I have all these ideas and I just don't know how to focus on it. And that's what it is. It's like I have so many ideas in my head running at any given moment, and I want to write. But when I get in front of my computer, it's like they all hide. They all hide in the crevices of my mind, and I can't. Well, man, what was I thinking about? Trying to, but in my brain is just constantly running when I'm like, not working or when I'm just not occupied and I'm just sitting there. I'm thinking of like, oh man, that movie would be so sick. I want to do that. I should write that idea down. And then the computer makes it seem like I'm climbing Mount Everest. It's so weird. I get in my own way about that stuff, and that's not the only thing. I mean, geez, directing. Like, I feel like I have a camera. I know what I got to do. Just point and shoot. And just like, even if I don't write it, let's go and film. Let me just go do it. And I get in my way because I'm like, what do I start with? what do I film first? There's so much that I want to do. And so it just becomes this really insane cycle of just intimidation. And I can't seem to like clear my mind long enough to just go and do. And what's been weird lately is that I've been getting these signs. Every once in a while I get signs. I believe in signs. I like getting little nudges from the universe of like, yeah, you're thinking the right way. You go do it. It feels kind of, it's like it's like a reinforcement. Like, it's like yeah, man. Yeah, that's exactly what you should be doing. What do you, and I mean, recently, I saw a video from Robert Rodriguez where he was like, what's taking you so long? You don't need to learn so much up front to make something happen. You're going to learn in the process, basically. Like, I'm like, dang, you know what? Yeah, because I'm over here trying to think about the stuff I need to do to get to do what I want to do, right? To get to what I want to film or write. But I just need realize that what I need to do, I'm going to learn in the process. I just need to start it, right? And that's a big thing, right? Everybody knows that. Everyone doesn't want to hear that advice, but at the end of the day, you just have to do it. Just start it. Then along the way, you're going to learn more or less how to refine it or how to fix it, or you're going to take that experience and learn it on some, apply it to something, to the next project, to the next idea, whatever you want to do. And it's true. It's really true. So I want to kind of deep dive down my creative resume real quick, if you don't mind. So when I was a kid, all I ever wanted to be was an actor because I love movies. Duh. But I've always been about movies, and that's my first thing that I've ever loved. And so I thought acting was the call of action. I would reenact all these movies. I would. My mom was the first one with a webcam in her apartment, so I would use it to film these little shorts, running around and all that stuff. And then as I got older, directing and acting was hand in hand. I did a couple short films during the pandemic, just to keep myself occupied, a cooking show, Hans Zimmer contest. What else did I do during that time frame? A couple other short films with my brother, and a bunch of, and then also when I was a teacher, we had a program called PBIS, and so I made a couple of short films and did the contest. We actually managed to win an award with one of them. I'm really proud of it. It was a Mr. Rogers inspired video, but like the acting and directing thing have kind of gone hand in hand periodically, but I never fully satisfied this scratch. Like it's always that's the constant. That's like the number one. Don't know if I'm great at it. However, it's like the number one thing that keeps calling me, right? And then rap, hip hop, that was a period of my life. Once I saw the movie 8 Mile, I was inspired for like 10 years. I was like, I'm gonna rap. I'm gonna be rhyming. I'm gonna rap with Eminem. I'm gonna show up on stage. Whatever it was. But at the end of the day, Eminem's obviously my superhero, so I just kind of wanted to emulate that. And I had my bullies, and I had stuff that I had no way to kind of express myself, so I used it and put it in music. That's what I used it for. That's why I wrote songs and try to rap as long as I did. And in that circumstance, every time I did a project, I did get better and better. I wasn't good, but I did get better and better because whatever I learned on one album, I would apply it to the next and kept going until I made the best one out of all of them. Still not great. And ultimately just stopped. But I got to satisfy that itch, the songwriter itch and all that stuff, because I wrote the lyrics to my wife and I's first dance, the song that we danced to. I wrote that and handed it off to my stepsister who did a beautiful version that wasn't a rap version. I wrote it as a rap, but she changed it into a beautiful song. But I felt like, okay, I can breathe. I can stop thinking about trying to be a songwriter or stop being an artist or whatever, or a hip hop artist. And plus I don't fit that mold. It doesn't make any sense. I shouldn't be thinking like that. But I feel like I scratched that itch. And then YouTube started in 2017, excuse me. Marc in the movies. Thought I could talk about movies. I review movies, and I was on and off for about 2 years, and then I shut it down. Then obviously opened, and then shut it down, but I didn't get to say goodbye. So I felt like I didn't finish that part of me. And then in 2021, thought, oh, I'll do podcast. So I became a podcaster. And the biggest notable one, obviously, there's a few ideas on there. You can go scroll through the feed, you'll see. But the main idea was the movie reference podcast with my sister. But even then, we kind of abruptly ended after episode 66, I think, in 2023. So this right here, this year that I've been doing of this weekly reference, movie reference thing, this is me saying goodbye to those two, right? Like this is my curtain call, or I don't know, is it called curtain call? This is my bow. This is me saying goodbye to Mark in the movies. This is me saying goodbye to the movie reference. This is my like the swan song, I guess. Like after 2025, this is not going to happen in this capacity. It's not going to happen anymore. And so like, yeah. So like that's my creative resume. I'm all over the place. I'm all over the map. And obviously this thing right here, the weekly reference and stuff like that, this is more of like my safety net because I love talking about movies and you know, like this is my first step in communication with people, my conversations with people is movies. Like that's what I love to talk about. But it's a safety net. It's not a risk. It's like I could do this for several years, but in reality, what I really want to do, I want to filmmake. Talking about movies is not the same as making movies. And I don't even want to make it to Hollywood. I just want to be able to say, hey, I made a bunch. I spent the weekend making a short film. You want to check it out? Yeah. Like it's as simple as that. But I keep getting in my own way. Like, no, you don't have the time. You don't have the in my own way. Just like with weight loss. I can't tell you how many times I lost the same 20 pounds in the last year, but I have. It's been a cycle, I tell you that much. And that's the same thing that happens creatively. I just constantly like, I'm in my head too much. I don't know how to turn it off. I don't know how to turn off the brain. But I keep getting signs, man. Ryan Coogler, when he was doing his Sinners run, like doing the interviews and talking about lenses and stuff, I was like listening. I was soaking it all up, and I was like, oh, I want to make my own. You know, I want to make my own movie. I don't want to make my own Sinners, but like, I do have an idea in my brain that deals with monsters, and I'm like, I got so inspired because of Sinners. And then Christopher McQuarrie with Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, just soaking all that information up and how they were able to make that movie happen. It's like, oh, it's so inspiring, and it's like, man, I want to make my Mission Impossible. And then James Gunn was Superman. You know, it's just like hearing all these creatives that are writers and directors, specifically writer directors, because they wrote it and they follow through with the vision. Like there's a little more ownership with those type of films. Not to discredit anybody that's a director who read someone else's writing and saw something. No, I'm not discrediting that, but that's something I gravitate to those writer directors, you know, Christopher Nolan's, the list that I just presented. And it's something about them that just makes me go, man, it inspires. I want my own thing, you know? And yeah. And like I said, then I saw that Robert Rodriguez clip and I was like, man, this guy's hella inspiring already because of how he was able to do his first film, El Mariachi. And now he's got his own studio basically in his home that he, you know, has some of the biggest stars come through and he's able to pump out movies. And then randomly my cousin, listen, I talk to my cousin about movies whenever we see a movie or whatever, but randomly he has no idea about this stuff, about the filmmaking side of me. But he randomly dropped a DM and said, hey, when are you going to do your own short film? And I was just like, man, how did you know? Like, I'm having one of those type of weeks. How did you know I was, and he didn't know. He just was curious. He just, you know, I don't know. But I'm just really curious about all these creative endeavors that I've been down. Obviously, I'm learning stuff. I mean, I've learned how to put this show together compared to how I used to do it, whether it was via Zoom or sitting in front of my MacBook. You know, this is a different process. I got my camera, I got my mic, I got everything set up because of what I learned through this experience. So I'm kind of curious of what this all means. You know, from the acting, taking the acting class, you know, which I loved taking acting class in college. It was so much fun. It was my favorite class ever. The teacher at the end, I don't know if she told everybody this, but she did tell me, hey, you should audition for the play next semester. And I chickened out on that. So I'm like, what if, you know, directing, what if? And I what does this all mean? I feel like I'm going crazy thinking about what does it all mean? I just want to know. I want to take all these ideas that are sitting in my mind and just do it. And I should just do it on a budget. Doesn't matter. I have a camera. technically have an actor. I'll just do it, just perform and see what I can make, see what it ends up being, man. If it's just something I show my friends, okay. If it's something I just show my wife, okay. If it's just something I'm watching by myself, fine. Just do it, man. I'm driving myself crazy thinking about it, and I shouldn't be afraid. We all shouldn't be afraid. If you have a dream, you need to just go do it. Life's short. So what? You're afraid? Okay. We should all just do it. Just do it. Like I said, this isn't the dream. This is just me saying goodbye to the YouTuber podcaster version of me. And then I want to move on, and I want to film. I want to go crazy and just film a bunch of things. I want to write a bunch of things, whether it's good or not. I can improve it as I go along, because it doesn't matter. I'm not trying to get people's attention. I'm not trying to do all that. I'm not trying to make it in Hollywood, but I do feel like there's a clog in my brain of ideas, and I don't know how to unclog it to focus on that one idea to see it through to its end. So I don't know. I hope this is some type of inspiring, or maybe you guys say, God, this guy's nuts. I don't know. Anyways, that's it for this week. Like, subscribe, comment to say hi, share your excitement for anything I talked about in Marc's Top 5. And also, if you have some advice for people who have dreams and don't exactly know, I guess it's just that Shia LaBeouf thing. Just do it. But, if you have any advice, please share it in the comments below. Until next week, progress, not perfection.